Cool. So 2020, you got any big goals?
Yeah, all this work at my house. 2020 is the year of home improvement.
Home improvement.
I guess. I don't know.
The year of home improvement. Are you a big goal setter? Do you set goals and do you post them up and then recite them before you go to bed?
No.
And then in the morning affirm them? And
No, do you do that?
No.
Do you set goals for?
I don't know. I'm not a really hard goal setter. I have that's where I want to go per se. So
and do you set them for your
goals.
Business? Well,
yeah.
do you set them for your personal stuff?
So here's the interesting thing about goals, right? Is most people all right, they sit down, they write all these goals, and then they just put them in somewhere, and then they end up getting lost and with the shuffle with all your other papers. And so if I'm working with clients, how we look at goals is I look at goals in two aspects, right? We have an outcome goal, and then we have a process goal. So most people set what's called outcome goals, which is hey, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to fit into this dress size, or I want to make this amount of money. So it's something they want to achieve, which is great, but just me wanting to make more money doesn't actually make me more money.
No, it doesn't.
You have to do things.
But me wanting to lose 50 pounds also doesn't make me lose 50 pounds.
Right.
So, I just did these with almost all my nutrition clients over the last couple weeks, what we want to achieve. But there was this really great article in the Redwood Gazette about not only just making realistic goals, but also handling obstacles and rewards as well, which I used actually with one of my nutrition clients to actually set the goals, and now we talked about obstacles that will get in our way with these goals, but then also how we can reward ourselves on achievement.
Yeah, I think those are really good. We call them if-then statements. So if this happens, then this, or if this thing comes up, then I'm going to do this. So a lot of people set outcome goals, which are great, but what's a better goal to set is what's called a process goal. And so what do you actually need to do in order to hit that outcome goal?
So let's talk about something really easy. I'm just gonna use push-ups in here because so your goal is to do push-ups from the ground. How to do push-ups from the ground? Well, if you're at number 20 on the push-up bar system, every month you need to lower it 2.
Sure.
That's how you get to the ground.
Yep, you'll be to the ground.
So every 2 weeks you lower it 1 rung.
Mm-hmm. So it's not about just doing the push-up on the ground, it's about the process to get there. So if we look at weight loss and fat loss, because I think it's a really common New Year's goal, I'm gonna get into shape and do all this stuff. So what if you set the goal instead of losing 10 pounds of showing up to the gym 100 times this year?
You think 100 times?
Once every 3 days.
No, I totally agree that's great, but don't you think thinking about it as the whole year? I would set even smaller ones. I'm going to show up in January. I'm going to show up the gym 12 times.
Right.
10 times.
Break it down into 2 times a week or 3 times a week. Figure out what your minimum is that you have to hit every single week. And so I would rather have people set goals like that, where it's you have direct control over whether or not you're successful with that. You don't always have direct control whether or not you lose 10 pounds.
And it's literally the easiest way to track it too. You could put it on your calendar and you get a green check or whatever on that day on your calendar. You can physically see it.
Right.
You could use stickers to do it. I know you guys are obsessed with the stickers we use at the gym and you all want more on your boards. So some more stickers for y'all to be successful. So those are all things you guys can do so you could actually track it and visually see it. Mm-hmm. And knowing, okay, well, my goal was 3, but I got 2 this week. Well, can I get 4 in this coming week too? I think one of the best ways if you're setting goals to work out is you have to hit the gym on Sunday or Monday. If your goal is to hit the gym 3 times a week, showing up on Sunday and Monday is ideal.
What kind of sets the tone for the week
exactly.
too, right? It just kind of sets the standard on what's going to happen. That's why I think working out or doing something right away in the morning too just helps set the tone for the day. There's just weird stuff that happens when we work out where we just we think better, we make better decisions, and it's oh, maybe my nutrition is going to be a little bit better because I worked out this morning. And so even though people aren't really morning people, not everyone is a morning person, but I think it's really about going to bed. And so if you want to make exercise a priority right away in the morning, then you need to get to bed, and that's just a reality.
Well, and I think the other thing is once you start working out, I 100% believe you have to change your nutrition to get results and to really be where you want to be. But if you start showing up at the gym 2 or 3 times a week, you're naturally going to start changing your nutrition because your body's going to tell you it needs other stuff. Like our body has innate intelligence to help us make those changes without like actively going, okay, well, I'm not going to eat this. Well, instead of having this, maybe you'll have more protein. Like instead of after a workout having going through the Burger King drive-thru, eventually you're going to maybe have a protein shake instead. Like there's just other things you guys can, like your body will naturally start doing for you, which I think is awesome.
And just you get into a different mind space where working out just clears our mind, makes us think a little bit better, and then all of a sudden now we're just naturally making a little bit better decisions because we're starting the lead domino might be the workout, but then we just start making better decisions almost unconsciously because we've improved a single piece. Another thing, Jen just wrote like mornings with toddlers, right? So like I think this is interesting for people with young kids. So like I can speak to this because I have young kids. And so one thing I'm starting to do now, so as my kids grow a little bit and their like needs become a little bit different, I used to do like morning runs when I had them like Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, but now Ezra won't sit in a stroller, and so he gets all fussy when we do it, so we can't really do that anymore. And so I've been thinking about, all right, what are other ways that I can, get some activity in the morning? Maybe it's not a full-blown workout, but just like some activity. And so now we've created a space in our basement where the kids can play, they can run around, they can climb on things. And then there's a spot for me where I can do push-ups and I can just do some body weight stuff. I'll have some kettlebells down there that I can swing around. And we just spend 20 or 30 minutes down there in the morning going through some stuff, and they can play, they can shoot hoops, they can play on the mats, they can climb on things, and so I'm just kind of like incorporating it into them with me, and they can, I'll stop and play and shoot hoops, and they might do some push-ups with them on my back, and so I just like incorporate them into it. So I think sometimes we think about like a workout has to be like at the gym, maybe with a coach, like all that is good, and that's probably better, but like don't go with the all or nothing. I think it's where a lot of people really screw up. It's like, if I can't get to the gym, then I can't work out. Well, maybe you can just go for a walk today. And like that can then just keep this pattern going. Well,
and I think another thing that is hard is that I think parents try to do so much after their kids go to bed that you're now not getting the sleep. My dad has said this since I was a little kid. The hours of sleep you get before midnight count for double what you get after it. So you'd almost be going to bed with your kids is going to, at 8, 9 o'clock, whenever their bedtime is, getting yourself in bed at that time is going to be beneficial for you because you can wake up. Then they're sleeping at those toddler ages. They're sleeping 8, 9, 10 hours, where maybe you could get away with 7. You went to bed at 8. Now you can be up at 7, and now you've given yourself, even if it's not time to work out, you've given yourself time where you get your time too. I think it doesn't necessarily have to be a workout. Sometimes it's doing stuff yourself, like drinking your cup of coffee hot before you're taking care of other people.
So that's actually one thing I do, and that's one thing that's really important to me. I go to bed a lot earlier, so our kids go to bed at like 7:30, 8:30, depending on the night, and so I'm in bed almost immediately after that, just because I can then get up at 4 a.m. and I have time in the morning. And I'm much happier in the morning, and I have a lot more energy in the morning than I do at 9 o'clock at night. Where if I chose at 9 o'clock at night to be my like workout time, I'm already exhausted from the day. I've been battling toddlers for the last 2 hours, and now I have to try and go work out. There's just not a lot there. So what then I've decided to do is, all right, I'm going to go to bed then. I'm going to get my 8 hours of sleep. If I go to bed at 9, even if I get up at 4, that's 7 for me. I can handle that really well. I can get up, I can get some movement in. Actually, personally, for me, I work, so I start working right away. And then now, if I have the kids in the morning, I am kind of doing my workout stuff with them all together.
When you go to bed at 8 o'clock at night,
yes.
Do you wake up, do you set an alarm to wake up at 4, or do you naturally wake up?
No, I set an alarm.
Do you ever wake up before it?
Yes. I mean, a lot of times I'll wake up, but like, I want to make sure, like, I need to get up and.
So I also go to bed at about 8 o'clock, like Trevor does. If Zach's home, maybe a little bit later, but I'm in bed by 9 o'clock, no later. If I am in bed at 8 o'clock at night, I set my alarm for 4, but I will wake up at 3:45 every single time. Like my body knows 7 hours and 45 minutes is perfect. I don't need that last 15 minutes. And I mean, I don't just wake up and I'm like, oh, I have to get up. No, like I'm awake and ready to start my day. And it's amazing how much better I feel.
Right.
And I get up, and I think that's the other thing people struggle with, that
the snooze button. Right. The snooze thing is crazy. Like, you're just like, you're delaying the inevitable, and you almost get like more angry every time, and you don't actually like feel any better.
No, I feel worse. I hit the snooze button, and I'm like, ugh. When Zach, yes, Jen, 3:45 a.m., but I go to bed at 8 o'clock. I mean, it's a huge benefit.
So that's the thing, right? So I look at sleep as this like block of time. Right? Not as in I have to get to bed by this time and I have to get up at this time. It's like, all right, for me to feel really good, I need about 7.5. I can survive on 6 for a few days, but I definitely start to fall off.
One day at 6 a.m., 1 6-hour night of sleep is like, I am a disaster. Like I can function, but like I never will do that 2 nights in a row.
So 7 to 8 for me is like ideal. So like if I'm up later, if I'm up till like 9 or 10, then I sleep in. Like my goal is to get that block of time.
But what I found is that even if I went to bed at midnight and I woke up at 8, I wouldn't feel as good as the nights I would go to bed at 8 and I'd wake up at 4.
Right.
Like, and it's crazy how the more you kind of play with what works best for you, like it really makes all the difference.
For me, that morning time is much more productive than the evening time. So if I would try and steal those hours in the evening after kids go to bed, like my brain is already fried because I've already spent most of the day working and dealing with toddlers. But if right away in the morning I've had my sleep, my brain feels good, I get some coffee, and we can rock and roll. So what I would think about is, so we've talked a lot about this stuff about exercising, when is it? It's really about setting a structure, right? I think that's one thing when people set goals, they forget to really figure out the structure and the environment to make sure that goal is successful. They're just like, all right, I'm going to do this. Well, it's like, well, there's a lot of things that play into you actually doing this. And so if people spent more time structuring their environment, structuring their day so they could be more successful, like I think you'd be more successful like hitting your goals because you'd be able to hit those processes more consistently.
Okay, so let's talk about some structures or some like hard and fast rules that you and I use that we believe are the thing, like maybe the top 3 things we do that contribute to us being successful with consistency or overall health, anything like that.
So here's one thing that I found that work really well for me is like I set things out before I go to bed. And
like what?
So like, what do you like? What?
What do you set out before you go to bed?
So like I'll set out like I have my morning gear that I wear in the morning. Like it's right there. It's all ready for me. I don't have to like dig through my closet. I pretty much wear the same thing every day, so I don't have to like make those decisions. But like I kind of prepare the next morning the night before so that when I get up it's just like you can go and you're not like scrambling around trying to find stuff in the dark. And I pretty much have a pretty consistent routine like right away. Like I get up, I turn on the coffee, like it's like coffee immediately. Just having, I think, that little bit of consistent, like what are the first few things that you do? I think having that consistency helps just like start the ball rolling. I might be a little bit tired, flip the lights on. I get bright lights in my face pretty quickly. We have really bright lights in our bathroom, and that helps to just like kind of start the wake up process. What do you got?
So I don't lay my clothes out, but mine are all like folded Marie Kondo style. If any of you guys want a little tutorial on that, and I literally sports bra, underwear, socks. Like the first one in every row is what I grab. So like it's first, it gets taken out. It's why sometimes I wear like army green pants and a pink shirt, because if it's there, that's what comes out and I pull it out. That's what I wear to work. Also, I wear the same stuff every day. I have like, I'm wearing workout pants and a FF t-shirt or sweatshirt. So it makes deciding what I'm gonna wear really, like there's no decisions to be made. If I grab a t-shirt and it's cold, I grab a sweatshirt too. Like I don't leave those for devices. So like I definitely would be laying my clothes out if I was putting on other stuff, but because I know I'm just grabbing out of these buckets and putting on these clothes, that's what I do. I always prep my food the night before. It's in Tupperwares, it's ready to be grabbed and be put in my lunch bag. Like there's no like divvying it up later. It's divvied up and ready to be taken. Like my snacks are already out on like whatever I'm bringing to work the next day is already out.
Yeah, I think that's big for people that take food to work or you take food somewhere, is prepping that before, so then it's just like grab it and go.
And I mean, like if I if I wasn't, sometimes I just put it in bulk containers and then I take it out one meal at a time. But like, there's plenty of, depending on what Tupperware I have at the house at that any given moment, like I make sure, like Zach gets individual meals that he can take with him so he doesn't have to work. But like, I think making sure you're ready to grab your food and you know what's going on. I also plan out my next day the night before, knowing what I have to do, and like whether that's like, hey, make sure you go to the bank or the post office. Like I write it, everything that I think I need to do the next day. So in the middle of the night, I'm not waking up or like not able to fall asleep because I haven't unloaded everything.
Mm-hmm. That can be good for people that like their minds race at night and they just like are thinking about everything, is having that brain dump before they go to bed so that it's there, and then categorizing it a little bit. All my stuff is digitized, so I have my inbox and I pull over the actionable items for the next day that I can make sure that I want to tackle, and then kind of take other things that come along with it. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have any good things, post them in the comments.
I also think
be successful.
It's January 1st. I literally just started cleaning out cabinets today. Like I take everything.
Some spring cleaning in the winter.
I always January 1st reassess the things that you keep in your life. I don't know.
It's interesting.
I'm gonna read. This is the year of home improvement. Remember?
Yeah.
So I have a cabinet in my laundry room that I eventually want to take out and not have it in there because I want to redo my whole laundry room, main floor, bath. So I opened a hall cabinet, and I took everything out and I put it in, and I went, okay, this is the stuff that's going in here. Well, I know I need to remove things that are in my laundry room to put in there. So that's what I did. I took them out of my laundry room, put them where they're going to go. So I can, when I go to clean that cabinet out, I'm not trying to find homes for all of these things. The homes have been already replaced before I go to do that room.
It's good. I think having homes for stuff is good, where you just know where it goes every time.
Well, so what I found, I'm a book hoarder. You probably are too. If my books are all in one place, then all my books are in one place. I've stopped keeping books in 5 different rooms.
Yep.
Unless I'm actually reading it, because I like read different genres in different places in my house. My books all go in one bookcase. There's not multiple books in different places in my house, and that seemed to be a huge game changer for me. Stuff is together. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really, you can't find something, but if it all has a home, then you know where to find it. And you know where to put it away. Right. I think that's more, people always ask how I keep my house so clean, is that my house isn't clean, it's just tidy and picked up because things have homes.
Right, exactly. No, I like that. And I think too, when stuff is organized, when a space is neater, like our brain is neater, right? When you go into a really scrambled space, I think it's hard mentally to try and like.
And we've talked about before, like being the rider on the elephant, right? Elephant on the path.
So we've got the elephant, we've got the path, and then we've got the rider.
Yeah, so I think, but the path is our environment, and if your environment is crazy, then what path is the elephant supposed to take?
Right.
So, and that's kind of how I look at my environment, is that I just kind of keep the path clean, so then I don't have to worry about it.
Right. That is a really good analogy. It was in a book, Nudge, I believe, kind of a behavior change book. So we've got 3 aspects. We've got the path, we've got the elephant, we've got the rider. Okay, the rider is our brain. It's our thinky brain. It's what we think. It's how we think we make decisions. Like we have A, B, and we're going to do this. The elephant is our emotional aspect, and so elephant much bigger than the rider on top and can dictate where you're going to go. But then ultimately, the elephant will follow the path, which is our environment. So if we create a structure and an environment that guides the elephant in the direction that we want to go, then we go in the direction we want to go. We can't just steer that elephant off of the path into the woods and try and get them to go. They'll follow the path. And so I think most people think about things too much like with their brain, like I'm going to do this, or this is what I want to do, rather than looking at like, all right, what's the environment, what's the path, and how do I structure that to be successful?
And I think that's the biggest thing is, can you make your environment the place that's going to lead to you being the most successful?
100%.
So,
right.
And we talk about this huge on cleaning up your environment in one of our previous episodes. I don't know if Jake can find it and share it with you guys too with this, when we share it out. But I know we've talked about this before, that whole theory in super depth.
Probably more important than any other aspect is the environment that we construct or the environment that we tolerate that ultimately leads to whether or not we're going to be successful. It's one of the reasons why I think showing up at the gym is so important, because it's an environment that forces you to, A, do the work that you need to do at the appropriate intensities, And then also changes just the way we think. So once you get into that environment, it's like, oh, I'm here to work out. And so that's one of the reasons why I try and work out in a gym at least a couple days a week, because I just get a different, better workout when I'm in a gym versus when I'm just
well, and also having a scheduled workout time,
Yep.
like it's actually in your calendar, like an appointment. It's really easy to be like, well, I'm going to be at, like me, I'm going to be at the gym all day tomorrow. Well, I'll just get a workout in. But there's plenty of times that there's other stuff. But if I look at my schedule the night before and I plan out my day, well, I know at this time I'm open for an hour, and it like if other stuff is pressing, like I will already know that.
Right.
So like if I know I have to write programs for 9 a.m. clients, that means I can't work out at 8 a.m. But I know I have an hour at 10. Like I know I'm taking that hour at 10 o'clock to work out, and like I make that, and maybe that's having your workout partner tell you you're going to be at the gym. The only reason Aaron worked out yesterday at 7 a.m. is because we already made the plan, and then you're both there.
Yep.
So like think about that too. If you have a buddy that always comes at the same time as you, hey, I'll see you at class tomorrow, and then you have that extra accountability.
Yeah, the buddy system's huge.